Hey, Juventini, welcome back to the All Juvecast channel. This is season 4, episode 2. We'll just call it the Empoli debacle. But we're going to cover this. Unfortunately, Juve dropping some more points in a 1-0 loss to Empoli. But we have a reminder before we get to all of this. I got Luca and Lewis joining me today. Lewis has a reminder for everybody before we get into even covering this game. Lewis, remind everybody.
Guys, it's okay. Italy won the Euros, so it's all good. Can't ruin that.
Oh, there we go. At least I'll always have that this summer. My boys. Jesus. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Thanks everybody who's joining right out of the bat. All these guys, Bianco e Neri News, Jerome there, Ciao. Anthony, of course, in there. Surprise, Lewis got sleeves on today. Might have to rip those off based on the match we're going to cover here, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. We got a hot take right off the bat too. Get rid of Dybala and start playing 4-3-3. Okay. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's all good. We're gonna do a quick match recap. Try and make it as quick as possible. I think for everybody's benefit. Okay. And then we'll get to all the topics around and whatnot. So we saw the starting lineups, boys, and everybody was trying to make sense of it. The biggest question mark was where McKennie was basically going to be. Was Danilo going to be in that regista role head of the D, and McKennie playing either up as a left wing, as one formation showed, or as a trequartista? And basically what we got was exactly that. Danilo in the middle of the park there, and McKennie up top there. And needless to say, it didn't look very good. Did not look very good.
That's putting it politely.
Yeah. Created a bit of a mess for everyone involved and the other mids. And it just it was ugly. This one was ugly, but it didn't get ugly till later. The first 10 minutes was actually fantastic for Juventus.
Mm-hmm.
Like Juve came out of the gate storm, and we had 3 minutes in, and Chiesa comes up the wing there. Does great job after Rabiot and Sandro do well to win the ball. We rush up the pitch there, and Chiesa ends up firing this thing, and the keeper just reacted when it hit him. If Chiesa puts that in an open spot, I think that's a goal, because it was a hell of a bullet, close range. Unfortunate he didn't bag one there. 8-minute, Quadrado does fantastic. Quadrado was taking his guy on every opportunity he got. It was actually big for us, but he did well. Beats his man, gets low, a hard cross. Chiesa just out of his reach, and nobody following up on the back post. That was unfortunate. Quadrado did that a couple times, and we just couldn't get anybody there, which sucked. And maybe a out-and-out striker could have helped. Lewis, you're going to say something there. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, you were mentioning the lineup. My only concern with that lineup is play with a false 9. I like having a target man. You lose something when it's just Chiesa and Dybala are very good players, but they're not players that are going to poach around the box. Chiesa did a little bit, but that's just not his game. You want him kind of taking people one-on-one and running between the outside back and the center back. Like a number 9 could help this team a lot today.
Yeah, there was so much to it. There wasn't enough contrast in the middle of the park between the players too, right? Like we've seen it all we know it all too well from last season. Rabiot and Bentancur, the two of them sharing the pitch, right? And I get it. Yeah, okay, Ramsey's out, Artur's out, whatever. But Locatelli, for whatever this fitness thing or this conditioning thing, he's not ready. Okay, sure. Quadrado in the middle, even Bernardeschi offers some different. Granted, he came in and it was bad, but it was bad from everybody.
Yeah.
I still think up top, we could have done something better than have to use McKennie as a trequartista or a left winger, because it was essentially all 3 of those guys rotating. Chiesa, Dybala, McKennie, they were all over the place. And it ended up creating a mess when we lost our press essentially because of it.
Yeah. It was very disorganized from front to back, just all over the place.
We lost our press because of it. And then our mids had to end up making up for that in terms of defensive duty. And there was pockets of space everywhere for Empoli to easily come out of their own end with the ball. It was far too easy. And my biggest shock was that Max didn't make an adjustment to McKennie. That's fine. Use him out of the midfield. And even if you wanted to hold on to Morata for like a second half or something like that, play Kulusevski from the get-go or something. Like put an actual forward.
Yeah.
Forward.
It just looked like going forward, it was like 2-on-6, or 3-on-6, Cuadrado, Chiesa, Dybala are really the only ones running at the defense.
Oh, yeah.
And in the transition, one of the things that leading up to the match about the lineup, I said that we should play Chiellini because he's your natural leader, right? Like Paulo is the captain, but he's learning how to be the captain full time, right? Like he's never worn the armband 80% of the time. So like you have Chiellini back there kind of just like to reorganize things. That's one of his best qualities is he keeps people in line and he's always ushering the team forward. I thought for a match like this, it would have been really useful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, right here with Bikram Jeet here, guys, don't you think that Allegri's just trying to check out players who fits? Absolutely. But the thing is, I even said this in a tweet. I said, I'm fine with him experimenting, especially early in the season. That's fine. You can experiment, try things out. But when it's going quite awful, to put it honestly, change it up in that match. And he had options to do so. So I'm fine with him trying to figure things out, take some time, whatnot. But in this one, we could have made some corrections earlier, I felt anyways. You guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe – I think he did make some adjustments because I was analyzing our formation when we started and what we ended the first half with. He did change it up around the 25th, 30th minute, shape-wise, not player-wise. But I don't think it was still enough because you saw at the beginning, we started off well, but then once they started realizing where our space was and where our players were going, that's when he started switching it up. So what I think he was trying to do, and I think you guys will agree with this, we saw Cuadrado go, and even Sandro at times, go pretty high up on the pitch many times. So what I think he was doing with Danilo was almost playing him, in a sense, as a third center back when we were attacking. So then, let's say Cuadrado would go up, Danilo would shift in between, or even on the one of the sides of our two center backs, and then play as that fourth defender when, let's say, Cuadrado was up. But the problem is, as soon as they countered us, that midfield was wide open. Cuadrado's caught in no man's land. We got no one in the midfield because Danilo's in that back line, and they got all kinds of space. So if we're going to go continue through the play-by-play, I think that goal was a perfect example of that occurring. And I said it yesterday, the moment we can keep Cuadrado as a forward and keep Danilo as a wing-back and actually have proper midfields, a little bit more clarity will come out of this team. The fact that these guys are playing in positions that aren't, consistent or even like their proper positions, that is playing a big role. And you guys said it last week, this is a new formation. This is not our starting formation. Clearly it's not, but the fact that there's so much trial so early on, like Al said, he had preseason to do it. Like we didn't see any of this against Atalanta. I mean, sure, there was a question of, Cristiano and everything, but it shouldn't be that much different in my opinion.
I don't want to get into this whole Cristiano thing.
No, we're not.
Either.
We're not.
It is what it is. He's gone, and even to say that that whole scenario, like I've seen some takes where that whole scenario was in these players' heads, like that's nonsense. Should have nothing to do with this. These guys are pros, and they got to get on with it, and we got to get on with life without Cristiano. This literally, I mean, it was a mess. Like I said, the top 12 minutes were fantastic. Chiesa, though, but even when you look at that top 12 minutes, it was individuals.
Yeah.
It was mainly Chiesa and Cuadrado that were shredding. Like Chiesa got the ball at half, turns around. There's literally 4 defenders there. He just goes. He goes and he almost scores for God's sakes.
That was a great save.
incredible individual efforts. And that's the thing. Even though they made that change, like he made that kind of formation change, I believe it actually got worse when Allegri made that, because we just lost all press. We come out of the half at 50% possession against a team newly promoted. We cannot control possession or matches. And the way you touched on, Luca, with Danilo and how he was used, left this massive gap in the center of the pitch and nowhere for our outsides to go. When they did look inside, the options weren't there. And yeah, it was rough. It was rough to watch.
And just to add, because I know this is going to make Louis' day, Rabiot shouldn't have started. I don't care how, like, I will pump his, his personality, his performance, his skills, whatever it is. He's been out for several weeks now. Why is he starting a game when he hasn't been playing at all? Like, in my opinion, if you're not going to start Locatelli, you should not be starting Rabiot. So that bothered me a lot, because physically you saw after 30 minutes he was gassed. Like, yeah, he made some good runs, but get to the halftime point, he was done. People didn't even know he was playing, and I have to agree with them.
Yeah, I kind of forgot he was on the field.
And,
aside,
and that's not just you shitting on him. That's the reality of it. He was not visible.
Honestly, we talked about it at the beginning. Like, you're kind of handcuffed in guys you have. I would have used McKennie out of the midfield somewhere, right? I would have played Locatelli. And if he can only give you a half, okay, just take that half.
Take it, exactly.
Like, get the game going. Max said there's no excuses. You got to win.
Yeah.
Get Locatelli out there. If he can give you a half hour, take the half hour. At least it's a half hour of better quality than anybody else in that midfield.
It just doesn't surprise me, because that's very typical of Max. He very much eases new signings in.
Yeah.
The year we signed Higuain, he didn't even play in the first match.
Yeah, that's very true. That's true.
It's just kind of how he operates. And I think a little bit of this is you have a young player that everyone is saying is going to fix the midfield, which he should, right? But it's a lot of kind of like, hey, if Locatelli comes in, he has a stinker, right? Then you're looking at, like, how's it going to affect the player? Does it throw him off? You have the international break. There's just some, like, variables in there. I understand his decision. I'm a little disappointed because I wanted to see him play yesterday. But I think, Juventus still could have taken care of business without that player.
Yeah.
Had more
Yeah.
And I think I'm more disappointed in the fact that in the transitional phases, we just didn't have any organization. And that's what's very disappointing to me for whatever reason, whether it's, players that aren't fit in the midfield like Rabiot, or if it's people like McKennie, or just in general, everyone didn't look like they knew what they were doing, which is a problem.
Yeah. And I mean, the goal, 21st minute there, Cuadrado is just out. Like, I don't even understand what he was thinking about, or what, like, his guys just completely by him. He's just literally in no man's land, because he's not making a play on the ball carrier. He's definitely not watching his mark. They get deep. He tries to recoup, and he does a good job of getting back, hustling back, slides in there, but the ball comes in cut. Again, unfortunate bounce, but Sandro was just pulling. Kind of watching too, as his guy just slides away from him. But I get it, because that player's coming in to cut. All three of our guys stood there ready to, like, block a shot or whatever. But regardless, Mancuso slides away from Sandro and buries, and we go down 1-0. And this is the moment. This is probably the one thing out of everything that pissed me off the most. And that was the fact that it looked like our guys were just done. I'm like, where's the attitude?
Yeah.
Where's the fight? Where's the belief? It's just like, after that, it was just like, we're so frantic.
Yeah, that for me is the most disappointing thing about this. Not to mention, you can't not mention it, but the post-Ronaldo era starts, right? And there's players that you have, that really suffered because of Ronaldo. People like Dybala, like players like that, like, you just thought that you'd get more energy out of it, more, like hunger, more desire. And the squad as a whole just did not have it. And that was a little disappointing for me.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that happened this week, the way that they lost last week, you just thought that you'd get a little bit more out of them. And but I think that we can all say that we knew that the start of the season was going to be ugly.
We did.
In 2 games, I don't think we predict that. But, this team has a long way to go, and it's shown even more this
Well,
week.
we had said it. We had said it in the chat, and I told you guys, like, I expect all these guys to put their heads down, work like animals, and I'm expecting Max to kill them on the training pitch and come back this week and slap Empoli. That's what I wanted. That's the minimum I expected. The fact that they not only didn't do that, but they, went further and just disappointed the shit out of everybody. It's just like, what is going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, Bud says he agrees with you, Luca. He even called you a gentleman. Let's take it easy on gentlemen there.
Don't give him that much credit,
Luca here.
Hey,
but yeah, it's just
credit where credit's due, boys.
There, after yesterday, we go into half, we're down 1-0, and it's just like still the beliefs there. It's like, guys, we can't be doing this. Like, Max got to correct it, do something right. Morata comes out to start the half. And then, honestly, 55th minute, Bernardeschi comes in for Rabiot. 66th minute, Locatelli and Kulusevski enter. But it's at the expense of Bentancur and Chiesa. Chiesa, in my opinion, still had some more to offer. That was a weird one when you're chasing a goal to see him go. And I know he plays 150%. You don't get a lot of 90 minutes out of Chiesa. But it's how he plays. Like he gassed himself up. But in this one, he had more to give, in my personal opinion. Do you guys agree?
I agree. I just think it's a short-term sacrifice for a long-term goal. You come off a guy that had a long summer, a long year.
Yeah.
He had a knock last week. I think the Allegri tried to protect him a little bit.
Yeah. No, I was.
Whether it's right or wrong, I think I agree with you, Al. Like it hurt us in the game because the game basically ended when he came off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I get the logic behind it. It was frustrating to see though when you're down a goal, especially with that kind of performance.
You know what? I'm going to disagree. I did see 1 or 2 points where he was off his pace. Like he tried to take one ball forward with his knee at one point, a bouncing ball right into the box, and he completely flunked it. He didn't even get a touch on it. So yes, I think, of all our players, he should be staying on that 90 minutes. If we're going to go into that argument again, Ronaldo was always a player staying 90 minutes because he was that game changer. I think now Chiesa, has to be that guy too. Same thing with Paulo. If you want to get that win, you keep these guys on because these guys will make the difference. But I think form-wise, there's a reason he didn't start last week, like Lou said, and I think is similar to this same reason today. I don't think he's completely there yet, especially when our subs aren't terrible. Like, I'm not going to start, pumping Kulusevski up, but that's not a terrible sub to put in at all. And wait, who came off for Chiesa?
It was
Kulusevski comes in, Chiesa's off.
Yeah.
Locatelli comes in, Bentancur's off.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not going to start saying Kulusevski's our savior, but he wasn't terrible when he came in. He did add a little something. He did get 2 or 3 chances. So, in my opinion, it's fine. You know what? You want to save Chiesa, whatever it is. I think there's a fitness aspect to it. We saw it last week. Fine.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it. I'm going to look at a different perspective.
Too, he's going to play at least 2 of the 3 games coming up for Italy. I mean,
it's just regardless. I mean, it's just a frustrating thing. I mean, whether he could offer more or not. I mean, the players that we had, they should have still done better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
But we don't get an opportunity in this second half. Like it's sad. It's weak. It's like 70th minute, and it's Kulusevski getting across. Locatelli almost directs that thing home.
That was great.
He did more. He did more in his first 7 minutes than those other couple of guys did in those 60 before Locatelli got in. He was demanding every ball. He was showing for every ball. He was getting involved up in the area. It's just like, it's frustrating because, again, when you look at the profiles of the guys we went out with, you have to recognize that and what you're missing, regardless if it's Empoli or whoever. You just got to pick up on that. And I don't know. It's just it's frustrating. At that time, Locatelli comes in, Chiesa's gassed, and he's coming off. And that's a frustrating thing too, because it's just like, again, if Locatelli can give you 30 minutes, just do it from the start.
Right.
Have him with Chiesa, have your guns out. Maybe you get one, you kill it, whatever. And then I know everybody was talking about this on social media and whatnot, and it was Dybala basically. I have to admit, when I watched it live, and I did the live watch along there, I thought it was soft. I didn't think there was anything there until this replay I actually saw last night because I never saw a replay at this angle. Yeah, I don't know. Like VAR could have stepped in, I guess. Like, did you guys feel the same as me when watching it live? It was not a PK.
The angle we had was like looking down, like in front of Dybala. So
yeah,
it looked like the guy kind of like barreled into the back of him. So I thought it was a penalty. I thought it was soft, but I thought like they've called soft penalties like that before. So I thought,
yeah.
You
thought it could have got called. The way it looked like to me was it looked like Dybala went down so hard, like so fast, like it looked like he was selling it. And I don't know, like it looked like I couldn't really see the feet at the ball there, but like when you look at this, like Dybala's got position and everything.
With the way the match went, we didn't deserve it anyway, to be honest.
Yeah, but you know what, Lou? I don't even care because he sold it. The angle was bad, but you know what? If that was any other team against us, or even if we look to our past, I've said it to you guys before. This has been called against us so many times. That's okay. It doesn't look like the strongest challenge, but in slow mo, he gets his leg in front of Paulo's. It's a foul. I saw it. It's a foul. I don't know why they didn't go back and look at it because he clearly didn't win the ball there. He got his leg in front of the other player, and Paulo was winning that ball. So it's a foul. Yeah. I don't understand why it wasn't called back or at least looked at. That was
I thought at least like take a look, but regardless, nothing there. And we talked about a Locatelli, like nothing really in the second half as far as a threat from Juve. 70th minute, that Locatelli one where he almost slides into that cross from Kulu, and then 93rd minute where Locatelli gets into space in the area too, and his shot goes wide, got deflected, and we didn't get the corner kick, and you knew that was end of game. So game over there. 1-0, it ends.
Can I just say, aside our shit performance, the ref was second in line for being absolutely crap. There was so many clear decisions that he gave the other way.
That ref was awful.
Awful.
He let a lot too much go.
Yeah,
not the reason Juve lost.
No, but it doesn't help. That's for sure.
He was awful.
Yeah,
he was awful.
Yeah, exactly. Anthony's right.
This one was a mess, and I said immediately after, my thoughts are just simply everybody involved, players and Allegri, take this one on the chin. They're all to blame on this one. They're all at fault.
I think, have you guys seen on Twitter, there's a video of Chiellini whispering to Max.
We're going to get into this.
The translation is it's not a team. That summed up the performance yesterday.
It sums up 3 seasons.
Yeah, but is he actually saying I'm gonna look at the other perspective, Lou, because it could be he did say that, and you know what, I wouldn't be surprised. But do you really believe lip reading on Twitter? We're diving a bit into it. I find.
No, I think that the point is valid.
Yeah, that point is valid. You're right.
Yeah, and it looked that way yesterday.
Right. So let me ask you guys, who would you let's go into the starting formation. I'm curious, who would you guys start in this formation? Let's say it's a 4th. This was like a 4-3-1-2 in my mind. How it's shaped up. Who would you guys start in the midfield, and who would you start up front? Because I feel defensively.
Well, no, I don't even want to get into that formation because
you don't.
I think,
okay, so
we should be 4-2-3-1 is what I think we should, and I think we're built for.
Right. Okay.
Personally. That's how I feel. I think I look at the players on this team, and I think 4-2-3-1.
Who would you start?
4-2-3-1, 4-4-2. The back line's pretty obvious. It would stay the same. I think it just goes Danilo, Bonucci, Delit, Sandro, God forbid, but he's going to be back there.
Okay, we agree on that at least, right? Yeah. Okay.
But I would go Morata, Dybala, however you put it up top, if it's one in front, one in behind, together, whatever. Okay. Cuadrado on the right and Chiesa on the left. I think Chiesa's better on the left. Cuts in on his right foot. He's got a dangerous curler. Just said that for a while. I really think he's better on his left. And then the midfield would be Locatelli and I guess.
He's about to say it. Say it, Lou.
It's gonna be Witzel if we sign Witzel.
The only time I go to 4-3-3 is possibly when Artur returns and Locatelli can play to the left of him.
Agreed.
That's when I would probably start looking to the 4-3-3. But up until then, I think let's go 4-2-3-1. And the guys that are on the sides are going to have to be working double time. So, whether it's Kulishevsky, Chiesa, and even Bernardeschi out there. Those are the guys you'd want out there based on their legs and energy, and then keep Dybala in that hole and Morata up top. Moise Kean, who's finalized today, $3 million a season. He can play either up at the top as well as an option, or one of those side roles as well. He can do either. Icardi now is but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Yeah.
You guys touched on Chiellini.
We touched on Chiellini.
And the words basically "non è squadra" is how some people are lip reading it. I heard something else that they lip read it as. It could be a couple possibilities. It's tough to spot, but one way or another, whether he covers his mouth or not, the frustration's there. Obviously, you guys are going to be frustrated. I don't care if they're covering their mouth or not. And honestly, that performance was not a team performance. So he's not saying anything that we didn't already know. And it's been like that for a couple of years. It's very, very frustrating. Now, the jeering from the crowd, though, this was quite a split amongst fans and stuff. And it was kind of wild. So I haven't seen that in a long time. And we got Omar with the guns out joining in hot right now. And Omar, you just reached the point where we were talking about the fans at the stadium. We had 20,000 in the crowd there jeering Juve. And I don't think I have seen that. I'm trying to think. Even in the banter years.
I think the last time we saw it was when Allegri was coach. And,
I think it was a bit exaggerated. I didn't like it. Second game of the season.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, right. I didn't like it.
But so I'm curious to hear how the live guests here feel about that jeering and whatnot. And Lewis, how do you feel about it?
I think the players deserved it. You get bossed 1-0 at home, you should hear it. I think that one of the problems the last couple of years is that there haven't been many fans in there and they don't hear it. So there's no reaction. The last time I remember fans jeering Juve at the end of a match, I think was either the year after Cardiff or the year before Cardiff. But I remember that Dybala scored a goal and he ran over to the crowd and celebrated. He yelled at them not to jeer. It got a reaction. So the players they need to hear it and they need to give a reaction, because I think we can all say that we were very disappointed. The Ronaldo chapter ends disastrously, and that's the performance that you give. I think that's I think it's very valid. It's cool.
So we got some splits here all over the place. Gush should never boo. No excuse. Eric says the jeering, those fans haven't received their new Man U kit. Oh man. I don't know, man. I see both angles, and if I was personally there, I wouldn't boo or jeer or whistle. But I get trying to get a reaction out of these guys because they do need to, and I think
but
it's tough, man. You spend a lot of money going to those matches. It's your right to, if you wish to do that, whatnot. Obviously, I just think it's just simply not good enough. And maybe, if anything, maybe it's not even just a message to the players, but a message to Agnelli and whatnot, who's done so much to the fans and the ultras and whatnot, and made things really miserable for them for seasons. It's like, hey man, now this is your product too. It may not necessarily just all be the players, just the scenario in general of what we've been doing for a few seasons, which is a little bit shambolic, to be honest. I mean, I can get the frustration. Would I personally do it? No.
Agreed. But you have to be a prick sometimes in this sport, and I apologize for that language. But if you want a reaction, I mean, the professional soccer players, they should know how to react. But if you want a reaction, that's how they're gonna get it. And you know what? If that's what it takes, I'm all for it. I applaud these fans for being able to do that. I personally wouldn't be able to. I'm not able to boo like people trying their hearts out for the sport. But that's just me. I don't have that personality. But you know what? It takes somebody to do that. You need that.
If
But
you're
it-
watching Juve for 3 years, you've seen this performance, for 3 years now. It's the
Yeah.
first time they've been around it, if you think about it, really,
Right.
since midway through Sarri. So it's a little extreme. I agree, but you understand it. Like, it's the first time they've seen it in a while, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have understood it if it happened only at the end of the match, but it also happened at halftime, and that's where it irritated me the most.
Yeah, that to me is wrong, Omar. I agree with that.
And the players on the pitch don't know if it's directed towards the management or the manager himself
But
or
I
the
think-
players. They're just
I don't
booing.
think they get that jeer if they show the attitude, show the
Yeah.
grinta, show the this team has become so fragile. And this actually segues into the next question, because everybody's talked about it. Even Allegri, not Agnelli. Allegri spoke about this, and it's a matter of the head. It's mental, and this is all in the live watch along I did for this match. I constantly saw the comments. It doesn't feel like our beloved old lady, like our dear old lady that we're used to watching. Okay. And I agree with it. And the thing is that we've, in all our years, you can even go back to the banter or whatnot. We were not this soft. It didn't seem like we were this soft. We're just a fragile team at the moment, and how do we change it? This was the question that came out. Now, just thinking, like, my God, how much time do we have? Like, how do you change this? How does Allegri correct this, in your guys' opinion?
I think, go ahead.
Go, Luis.
Oh,
Go,
sorry.
Luis.
I think that there's a huge difference between the teams that won the 7, 8, 9 in a row and the current side. You're looking at teams that were World Cup winners, Champions League finalists, like, all these decorated players, right? And even when you take the post Pirlo, Vidal, Pogba years, and you go the Khedira, Matuidi, Mandzukic, like all those players, they're big clubs, big game players, right? Right now, what you have is a lot of young players that haven't yet done that. You have a couple, like Chiesa, Locatelli, the Italians, yeah, but a lot of these other guys haven't shown themselves on that level, and it's a huge gap from where it was before, where you have 1 or 2 fragile players. You have those guys that kind of back you up, but now you don't have many of them. You only have a couple of them, right? So I think that's a part of the problem, is the personnel and the identification. I think that's why, like, a player like a Witzel is so important, because he's a veteran. He's 33. Like, he understands that a little bit more. He's not as fragile. As far as dealing with the squad that we have now, it's tough. You have to really, really, like, it's gonna be done off the pitch. Like, you gotta work through it off the pitch. It's gotta be. It comes down to your leadership. Like people like Chiellini or Dybala, whoever these next captains are, need to to help teach them how to suffer.
Eric's got a point here. They have to learn how to suffer, and that's what I liked about a lot of the Italians coming back from the Euro. Like Bernardeschi said it, as a team, they learned how to suffer in that Euro Cup, and you see it in his. Okay, yeah, sure, maybe he wasn't perfect yesterday, but you saw him when he came in. He threw himself at every challenge that he could, at least to get that ball back, or at least a fight. So I saw at least a fight in him that many have not. Now, if you really want to start saying like experience, how long has like some of these players been playing either with Juventus? Like guys like example, Bentancur is spoiled. With Juventus, he's only won. He's never lost anything. Like he wasn't there for the big upsets. He's been very spoiled, but he's been there for what, 5 years now? You should be experienced. You should know. Like, I don't want to hear this excuse that he hasn't learned. He's made so many mistakes and continuously still does that. So it bothers me that, like, if we're just going to go out and get a guy like Witzel, I'm sorry, but what's Witzel done? What has he done? He's been with Dortmund doing what? He's getting second place in the Bundesliga? I don't want to shit on him. He's a great player, but that's not going to fix our midfield.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but you can't ask for all these young talents you want the clubs to sign and then shit on them when they don't make it. This is the process with young guys. If you don't have the patience for them to grow and become better players, then don't ask for them. you want to, we can get another Khedira and be bundled with him. Ramsey has tons of experience, and look where that got him.
There we go.
Yeah, they have to go through these moments and whatnot. And like I said, I mean, this is how I could sum it up. I'm fine with Allegri experimenting. I'm fine with him doing it early in the season. I'm just not fine with during one of these games, which really are points we need. We need these points. Not trying to make an adjustment properly or change things for the better to try and at least salvage something out of it. I'm fine with the experiments because this is the thing. I do trust that Allegri will get things right. He will find what suits these particular players that he has. Okay. But yeah, as far as the mentality and everything, I think it's just, honestly, it's tough to pinpoint. I think there's a lot of different aspects that have kind of made us get to this point. I don't think it's solely just because we have younger guys. I don't think that's the reason. We need to play as a team, okay? First and foremost. Then you start to get in a rhythm. Everybody starts to learn their role. Right now, you have too many guys that don't know where they fit amongst this team.
Yep.
Okay. We need to identify who's going to be what to the squad and start building from there. It comes from stability and continuation and repetition. And right now, should not be a surprise because you've had 3 manager changes in 3 seasons. So I don't care about Allegri in his past and whatnot because he is technically starting from scratch.
Yeah.
He is.
So a lot of people don't see it that way and really go hard at Allegri for these 2 matches and whatnot, but he is starting from scratch. And I've seen the comments that are very reactionary and some are just trolling, speaking about Pirlo, whatever. And I did defend Pirlo in terms of our players needing to do more. I also defended Allegri saying that he's going to have the same issue because I do think there's about 3 guys that maybe 4 need to do more, need to bring more and do their part. And I think Allegri will face that battle too. But if you're going to have your faith in somebody, those that are already saying, it's wild to me because there's those that were saying we needed to give those other guys more time, but now they're already ready to just cut off Allegri's head. And it's just like, what are we doing here? Stability, everybody. You need to have stability. And if you were in the hospital, okay, and it's an emergency surgery type scenario, do you want the guy that's at the head of surgery, or do you want the guy who didn't even have his ticket coming in to try and save your life? So don't bring me the Pirlo things, whatever. Allegri's back. Trust him. Have some faith. Have some faith. Just trying to figure some things out. I think everybody, including our management, needs to have some patience.
Well, I think too, people need to get their expectations in order. This is not the same team it was when Allegri left it. It's different. It's a rebuild. And now, I mean, not to hone on it, but you lose Cristiano Ronaldo and you take your expectations, you kind of just like throw them away. You're starting all over. Like that phase has ended. This is the new era. So you need to like dial back expectations. You know, you'll get played off the pitch by Empoli, right? But in general, we're going to suffer a lot. People need to figure out, okay, who's the focal point in attack? Who's, you know, the guy who's going to lead this team forward? You know, Chiellini isn't playing every match anymore, you know, so who's the next guy? It's going to take a lot of time to do this. It might be a whole season that it takes to rebuild this, but that's part of the reason you bring Allegri in, is because if you're rebuilding with a manager that has credibility, even if you fail, like you have that. So there's a long way to go in the season. This is going to be ugly probably for a month or 2, maybe more, but we'll get there eventually. People just got to chill out.
Yeah.
We'll patience.
I've got a bit of a rant.
I love it.
Oh, let's hear it.
Okay. Tell me if it makes sense.
No.
I think we're living in some sort of a bubble about football in general, soccer, everyone from the US, because Okay, let me give you an example. Um, the younger generation is doing now what the previous generation did to music. Okay, and what I mean by that is that it became about everything except the music. The music became shitty, but it was all the merchandising and the big shows and the big spectacles everywhere, and we sort of accepted the music became shit. Now, here's the big difference. Music is an industry that sustains itself financially. Football isn't, because the biggest club in the world don't sustain themselves. Juve are in debt, Barca are in debt, Real Madrid are in debt. Paris don't generate money. They have rich owners who provide them with money. Same for Man City, same for Man United. So we don't generate enough money to be what we want to be. So this bubble makes us think that we're far better than other teams, and we're always looking for these surprises. Empoli winning against Juve is much bigger than Milan winning against Juve, because it doesn't matter anymore. The player don't care anymore. I won't say they don't care anymore, but they care less about the game itself. And it's about everything that surrounds it, the post on Instagram, the shirt sales, everything is just upside down and backwards. And that's where Allegri steps in. You need to make them realize I don't care how much money you make off of Instagram. If you don't play as a team, it means shit. And that's sort of my rant.
I like it.
I agree.
I like it.
It's valid, 100%. I think we all can agree here. Most of you guys have probably, like, I'm going to speak for Al and Omar. You guys have probably been through that older generation. You guys have watched Juventus for a longer time. I can't speak for Lou here, but I'll speak for myself. I'm still relatively new to this whole generation of soccer, so I've seen only the most recent aspect of it. I still believe there's a fight for that badge. I still believe that could be found, but it's definitely not what it used to be. So I could feel it. I can imagine you guys that have seen, the 90s, the prime years, really.
Yeah. But again, Omar, and, we could speak to it because we go back a ways in when we started following is, again, this is why I think everything needs to make sense from the top down. Because if you look and you want that fight and you want that care to come from these players, it's got to be reciprocated from the top. And management's got a lot to do with that. And just the way they run their organization and all the moves and everything, like player treatment from, Gianni, even Moji. Do you remember when Moji was around? The player treatment was on a different level. It was next level stuff. It doesn't even compare to these days, and things like, I don't want to, I hate to get into it because I don't even care anymore and I'm over it, but little things like Ronaldo just leaving a stadium or whatnot, they don't fly. And I'm not getting into a Ronaldo thing or whatever, but things like that never used to fly.
Mm-hmm.
Players getting out of line never used to fly. And the second they gave an inch, they knew that the players would take a mile.
Yep.
And Juve always had a spine and stuff like that. We started to go down this road and Omar's rant literally paints a picture perfectly of where we started to care too much about the merchandising, the branding, the stuff. And you start to give a little more leash on shit that shouldn't matter, which is anything outside of the pitch. And it's just interesting how it's all changing and evolving, right? It's different. Can the team get it together or whatnot? Absolutely. But I think management needs to set the tone. Allegri needs to basically reinforce it, and then it'll trickle down, right? But the biggest thing is, how do you do that again when you're changing coaches every year? Juve needs to stop the carousel.
I think I agree with that. You need stability at the top. And when you think about how Juventus created their backbone to win the 9 league titles, I mean, you had a coach like Conte really came in and just gutted everything about that team. The players that you didn't want, the players that you did want, the management was all on the same page. And that's what I think you need going forward. It starts with your manager and what he's doing behind the scenes in the management itself, is to really just gut this team, who has it, who doesn't. And this might take a year, it might take a couple months, but it's going to take some time at the end of the day.
I think that applies also to our midfield, though. Like, let's be very realistic. How we had a consistent midfield for the last 3 seasons? No. I mean, who can we say that's been there all 3 seasons? Bentancur? Yeah. That's a hell of a shout.
Yeah, we can shit about Matuidi as much as we want, but he was always there, and he always provided.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick example, and I just off the page here a bit. That Madrid team that won 3 years in a row the Champions League. That team, I think, changed 1 or 2 players throughout those 3 years. That's it. Consistency, and already the coach is one thing, but our players is another. I mean, defensively, sure, we've had a little bit more consistency. We could say that, but up front, midfield, forget it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of work to do. We knew there was going to be a lot of work to do. Trust is in Allegri. I believe he'll get it right. Edgar's coming in here saying that Allegri will get it right. He's the best coach in Serie A. Let's have some faith. We just all need patience. Everybody needs patience, club included.
And the board more.
We all kind of got on rants on that one.
Yeah, we went off of it.
Topics here because we could probably go around on that one all day. Dybala, building around him. Right or wrong? Would you not? How do you guys see this? Real quick from me, I'm fine with it if done properly. What I saw yesterday is a Dybala that we can't have, which is nobody to play off of. We've seen when he's his best, and we've seen when he's his worst. He needs somebody to play off of. Still needs that top man to go. If you're going to play him at the top, at the heart of a formation, I would have some doubts. If you get him playing as a top 2 or in the hole there, I got a lot of faith. That's it from me. But your guys' thoughts, Dybala, building around him or not? Yes or no?
Yeah, he's the natural kind of like next man up. Probably the second best player. It's either him or Chiesa. So probably like the 2 of them put together. But the focal point on him, just because he's a little bit older, more experienced. My only knock with Dybala is body language. If you're gonna wear the captain's armband, you can't be waving your arms around. You gotta be encouraging, and he'll learn that because this is new. But that's my only knock on the performance yesterday. Just I didn't really like his attitude very much. I could tell he was frustrated.
And that's fair.
That's fair. He's allowed to show.
And I questioned a lot of their attitudes, especially when going 1-0 down. Mm-hmm. That's really, really sad, to be honest. And we shouldn't stand for that at Juve. So I agree with that completely.
Yeah, I never liked the concept of building around a certain player because you usually get disappointed with this player. And I don't know, we just spoke about wanting to be a team, and building around a certain player is sort of counterproductive sounds. And Allegri just needs to build around everyone. Everyone needs to know what they're doing, including Dybala. And if he's the captain, fine, he's the captain. I don't think Bonucci will act differently on the pitch because he doesn't have the captain's armband. If you're a leader, you're a leader, period.
Yeah.
And so I'm not into the building around someone. We have a great player. Let's use him right. And same goes for every player on the squad.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna take basically what you guys all said and put into one. Al, I agree. You want to build around him? Sure. But he needs a point man. He needs a Morata, and he needs someone on the wing like either Cuadrado or Chiesa to feed him the ball on the top of the box. For me, that's necessary.
Yeah.
Lou, I also agree in almost every aspect. His body language, I think, is fine. Show your emotions. I'm all for it. I did see a lot that he has improved on. Like if he goes down for a tackle, if he gets down from a foul, he won't like start complaining or anything. He knows if it's a foul, it's a foul. He'll get up and keep hustling. I've noticed that a lot in the last 3 years. And Omar especially, same thing. Yeah, I agree we shouldn't be building, but if he definitely should be a starter. And if you want to get the best from him, I think he should be one of the guys that, because we've seen that he's very, very, very good in one spot. And if you don't put him in that one spot, I know it's sad to say, if he's not in that one spot, he won't prosper. It's fine, but he could be game-changing if he's in that spot. So in that sense, we should focus on him because we know the other guys could be more flexible. And I know that might sound counterintuitive, but that's the way I see it.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Minari has been putting this question out. Not trying to avoid it, but we kind of touched on it earlier. But how do you guys think Allegri can make the team play as a team? We kind of covered it in just basically Allegri's experimenting. He will find the roles for the players. Once these guys understand what they need to bring, I believe he can get them playing as a unit. And that's just to answer that one. Thanks for your question. And thanks everybody who's joining. Make sure you take a second to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And for anyone that's listening to this on audio, get over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and you can take part in the discussions live. And we have a perfect segue from what we were talking about with Dybala, and that's if you are going to do it, find the point man. And here we go. Juan saying, hate to say it, but I'm all in for Icardi. Anthony, Icardi inbound. So here we go. We're going to get into this. We might have to kick it off with our man Lewis when it comes to Icardi. He's been very vocal about this, but Icardi, so apparently as of today, the offer is there and Juventus is waiting for PSG. So it's a 2-year, it's essentially the exact same deal that Alvaro Morata got. Okay, so it's a 2-year loan at 10 million euros with an option to purchase at the end of 25 to 30 million euros. And we are waiting for PSG's okay. I want to get all your takes on Icardi to Juventus. Lewis, my man.
It's been very vocal that I really don't like Icardi. Actually, well, mostly I don't like his wife, which, it's really funny to me that we heard on Twitter about how much of a distraction Ronaldo is, and the solution to that is to bring in the woman who literally had the Inter Milan dressing room fighting each other because Cassano and Vieri are on TV. But that's a different story. The thing about Icardi is he can be a very good player, but if you look at the way that he plays, he needs a lot of service. If he doesn't get any service, he's very useless. He's not a player that's gonna turn a defender and hit a curler into the top box. He's not that kind of player. And the sad thing is with Ronaldo, you're kind of losing that player that is, can kind of pull a goal out of nothing. So I don't know that Icardi necessarily fixes it. I'm not fully against it because we really don't have any other options. If we sign Icardi, I will dislike it, but I'll live with it.
There you go.
And one more thing about Icardi. He scored less goals than Kane last season in League One. Just want to throw that out there for everyone.
Fucking Louis.
Yeah.
Well,
who wants to go here, Luca or Omer? Omer.
I'll go. I don't like Icardi. I'm in the same mindset as Lewis. I don't know what it is about him. I know what it is about him that I don't like, and I don't think he's Juve material, but nonetheless, he appears to be coming. So, I'll support him. He's a Juve player. I'll support any Juve player, no matter how shitty he is or how bad his wife is. And that's part of the stuff I was saying before, is just, dealing with all this shit around the game and not in the game. I don't know why his wife should matter. It never mattered in the past. So I hope the second she starts opening him up, someone slaps her and just tells her, you can't, it's not in there here. You can't sit in talk shows with previous players who hate our team and just talk about you. If you want your husband to stay here, that's what it takes. If you don't want to, then he can go play for whoever he wants. But if he does come to Juve, then that's what we have, and that's what they have to play with. I don't like it, but it is what it is, and we sort of have to deal with it.
Yeah. Luke.
Right. So, do I like Icardi? No, absolutely hate him. Why? Ex-Inter player, ex-Inter captain. 2, his wife is a pain in the ass, and she's his agent. And 3, he's an ex-Inter player. Oh, yeah, I did say that, right? Okay, just checking. But like Anthony said, the situation is right now, we do need a point man, and he's probably the only viable option at the moment. and Max likes him. He's always said that he liked him. So you know what? If Morata's not there and Icardi's not there, then you know what? Whatever. You take, who are you going to take? At this moment, these are the guys we could use. And you know what? If he can make the best out of it, I'm all for it. But doesn't mean I like the guy. Doesn't mean I like what he's done. But if we could make it work, whatever, I'll support it. In the end of the day, we need a striker.
It's a unanimous panel. We hate Icardi. Okay, yeah. So we hate Icardi. I hate Icardi. Okay. However, if I take that out of the picture and I just think about this, like, here's a guy that knows the league well. Okay. I think the transition irrelevant. He'll be fine. He probably bag around 25 goals, I think, on this Juve team.
I want to ask, because let's be very honest here. Before Ronaldo came, did you guys ever like him as a person?
Yeah.
Well, no, but I'm really taking that out of the fact. I don't.
No, but like
Ronaldo himself.
Yeah, like I hated Ronaldo, but like he was still a good player, and that's the same. I
didn't hate him. I just okay. And the thing is funny is because it went full circle with Ronaldo. I didn't hate him. I was annoyed by his prima donna stature. Right. That's what annoyed me. But when he joined Juve, it's like, okay, like this guy's a bomber. I'm going to get behind. But then it went full circle when the honeymoon phase was over. And it's like, okay, this guy's a prima donna. It got annoying.
Which is true.
Luca,
that's just me personally. That's how it felt. It was never personal with him. I never hated him. But
listen, the thing about Ronaldo is if he's a prima donna, when you buy him, he bags like 50, 60 goals a season. Like we're looking at Icardi, who's like ate a lot of Parisian food and bagged like 15 goals a year.
If Icardi was the best scorer ever, I don't give him a slack, but he isn't.
He isn't. And that's a problem.
Regardless, personal crap out of the way. Again, this guy right now would help this team.
Yeah.
He's more stable to me than Morata, who's so streaky. And I love Morata. I love Morata, but Icardi would be more stable than Morata. And not only that, it gives you another option. It's another weapon. When you go into a game and you are hoping on certain guys like Lord De Chilio to change a game against Empoli, or would you rather lean on having Morata come off the bench or Icardi come off the bench? Moyes Keane now. It's options. I think we would have strength in numbers to some effect, right? To some degree. I'm gonna hate every second of it, but I would take it at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Gotta tell you, when I imagined us taking players from PSG, those weren't the two I was expecting.
Honestly, that's well said.
Guys, it's been fun. We're gonna finish on one last question for you guys as we obviously go into the international break. Thank God we can focus on the Azzurri again and have a little fun. We will do some Azzurri shows for those Juventini that follow the cast that are Azzurri fans as well. Do some Azzurri shows. Does the break come to an advantage for Juve or a disadvantage? Should we jump back on the horse? We've got Napoli and then Milan out of the gate after the international break. Is the international break good for us, or would you have rather us get right back on the horse? What do you guys think?
I think personally it's a weird time for us to have an international break, especially if you run the risk of some players getting hurt. Really throw some things. Max says that he knows what his lineup is for Napoli already, so hopefully, fingers crossed, none of those players in that respective 11 get hurt. But I would like to go straight to the training ground and be able to grind some stuff out. But for us fans, I mean, the Azzurri is going to be so nice. Can't wait for that.
Luca, how do you feel? Is the international break, how do you feel? Good timing, bad timing? Are you indifferent?
I think it's a double-edged sword. Like Louis said, as just a break from all this absolute shithousery, I think it's a good. Whoa.
Hey!
Damn, that scared the shit out of me. I thought that was my dog. So I think as us fans, it's good to step back, and I think maybe for the guys too to refresh. But what worries me is not only injuries, but a lot of these guys are called up to their national teams. We have a lot of players that go. So for the ones that, like need to maybe work on their fitness, such as like Locatelli, I'd rather he would have stayed at the training camp than get called up, so at least he can work on that fitness, because there's a good chance he maybe plays with the Azzurri, and, if he gets hurt, forget it. That's it. Same thing with Dybala. Same thing with who else is sensitive? My goodness. If Chiesa gets hurt, forget it. I think it's good, but there's also bad to it.
Yeah,
so
for sure. Omar?
I hate international breaks, and it sort of comes in a good time, but they have like 3 games in 6 or 7 days, and then we have a lot of games in an 18 days period. Against Chelsea, we have Milan, we have Napoli. It just feels like too much.
Yeah.
Like we don't even know who our starting 11 are, and we have to rotate so much. It's not the way to get consistency.
Yeah, I agree.
While teams like Empoli don't send anyone, so they can train regularly and play regularly.
Yeah,
I think it's a difficult timing for Juve at the moment. The biggest key is staying healthy. Last, certainly not least, we're not going to dive deeper or anything, but McKennie, we know what Mirko Di Natale kind of said on the interview, that McKennie has been pulled off the market by Allegri, but things could have possibly changed. They might be looking for another profile. Everybody now as of this morning, saying keep a lookout. The names would be Pjanic or Witsel. Tolisso outside chance. Guys, would you pull the trigger on that to get a different profile in the middle, or keep McKennie? Real quick, everybody's thoughts on that.
No.
Hell no.
God, I really like McKennie too.
We just talked about it. Consistency. We just freaking talked about it, and you're gonna swap him out after a year.
But if you're gonna play with a 2-man midfield, who plays next to Locatelli?
But it won't.
Artur.
Yeah, it should be Artur, in my opinion, but that's not the question.
We already got a split. No. Enlightened Buzz, McKennie out.
If you get 50 million for McKennie, you're going to tell me that you're going to say no to that?
That's not what I'm saying, Lou. I'm saying we're not going to get 50 million because that's absolutely ridiculous.
In the Premier League, you might
wait. Paratici is a Tottenham you can get.
Exactly.
Christ. Okay.
I've got mixed feelings, boys.
Answer the question. Yeah.
I got mixed feelings. It's basically like there's a profile that could potentially help us. I don't know if Witzel's it. Pjanic, I don't want to go back to Pjanic.
I know Pjanic ain't it.
Yeah,
I think I think we need to help McKennie realize the role he needs to play, and it's not trequartista.
Yeah. He's not supposed to be there.
And it's not up on the left wing or rotating with our forwards. I think he's useful. We just got to use him right. So I'm going to say hang on to Weston. However, Lou's got a point, because if there was a capital gain there and you get a midfielder that's experienced and whatnot that could fill a void, it's something you got to look at. So it's going to be interesting. We only got a couple days left. Tuesday, the Mercado ends. So buckle up, see what happens, and go from there. But guys, this was a fun podcast. Despite the loss, we got a lot of stuff fashed out. We had some rants. Omar spitting some facts today. Omar's dog, sorry to piss him off talking about international break.
No one was mad, bro.
Yeah, Omar's dog didn't like the international break talk, but that's okay. Never know what you're going to find on the All Juvecast. We had a lot of fun. You guys are beauties. I look forward to the season, no matter what it holds for us. And I've always said this. I've been through the absolute worst, and I'm ready for whatever's to come.
As our beloved Anthony would say, the sun came up today. Well, not here. Actually, it's been very cloudy, but the sun came up somewhere, right? So,
yeah. Whatever comes our way, I'm always ready for after 2006. So thanks everybody who joined the live. Again, just please take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new to it, and we'll be back with we're going to do some Azzurri shows during the international break, and then, of course, Match Day Live for Napoli and the post-match podcast. Thanks, everybody. As always, no matter what, Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Ciao.